Today on TimesCast, Iraq's parliament meeting after an 8-month deadlock.
Parliament only met once before for 18 minutes.
In the U.S., politicians can't agree on the Bush tax cuts or what to do about the national debt. And for the first time, a videographer working for the White House.
This is Stephen Lee Myers in Baghdad, where the parliament just began voting to approve a deal that gives Maliki a second term as prime minister. On Wednesday night, the leaders of the main factions agreed essentially on the top post in the new government, the prime minister, the president, and the speaker of the new parliament. Parliament only met once before, back in June, for 18 minutes to swear in the new members. This will only be the second meeting since the election. The problem really stems from the fact that the election was more or less a tie. Ayad Alawi's bloc, Iraqia, won 91 seats, Maliki's bloc won 89. So basically what they've been arguing over for the last 8 months is how to reflect the results in the new parliament, essentially who would be in power. And even though Maliki's bloc narrowly lost, he was able to build a coalition, though it took a lot of time because he faced a lot of opposition, even internally, to get enough votes, essentially, to head off the challenge from Alawi. I mean, I think the main significance is finally, after 8 months, you can start to hope to see some progress politically. I mean, everything has been suspended while this, impasse has dragged on.
Jackie, there are reports today that said that the White House is considering extending the Bush-era tax cuts. What's your take on this news?
Well, the White House is pushing back very hard against any suggestion that they would agree to extend the Bush-era tax rates on income above $250,000, that their position has not changed. But I think given the election results, everyone expects them to agree to a year or two extension for the upper income rates, largely because of the economy and because they lost a lot of seats in the election. But it's interesting, if you extended all those rates, the Treasury would lose $4 trillion added to the debt through 2020. By coincidence, the President's Bipartisan Fiscal Commission, the chairman of that commission, came out with a draft report yesterday attempting to stabilize the long-term debt. And they, with a lot of pain and a lot of cuts, would save $4 trillion through 2020. So on the one hand, you have them considering something that would add $4 trillion. On the other hand, we see the pain that it takes to just take $4 trillion back. So we're working at cross purposes here.
Even members of the deficit panel were not very supportive of this proposal. What do you think could actually be approved?
It's very unclear at this point. I think we're going to be debating this for years. But the chairman made clear that even as there's something for everyone to hate in this plan, they tried to put in things people could love. For instance, they would raise revenues, but they would do that by getting rid of a lot of popular deductions, like your deduction on mortgage interest, your tax-free employer-provided benefits for health programs. And in exchange, though, rates would be much lower. How low would depend on how many deductions you get rid of.
And the White House has its first videographer and an online show called West Wing Week. Is it propaganda or a way to document history? Ashley Parker has this report.
Photographers joke that you can't take a good picture of President Obama without Arun Chaudhry being somewhere in the shot. He's the official White House videographer and has been shadowing Mr. Obama since soon after the then Illinois senator began running for president.
No matter what happens tonight, right? Our children still love us.
That's the key. It is.
I know.
Absolutely.
All right, sir.
He's definitely part of the White House communications machine, but he's kind of a quirky cog.
I'm a guy who went to art school specifically so that I wasn't going to be having to wear suits every day.
Mr. President, may I please introduce His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Korea.
How are you?
I love being there for that stuff. I just think that it is absolutely fascinating.
Somebody who's not necessarily closely following the situation looks at West Wing Week, it looks like a documentary, right? At the same time, it's a documentary that's produced by the organization itself.
It's not part of the messaging versus the press reporting or however that is defined. It simply is a historical account of everything that the president has done that week.
It seems that Mr. Chaudhry's style has found a niche in the White House. He will likely not be the last person to hold the title of White House videographer.
And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
Join us again tomorrow for TimesCast.